we decided what better way to end the year than let's take our top 5 rated bottles and just pour them up, casually talk about them, maybe even compare them,
Even though it's unfair to compare, we're going to do it this time.
We're going to do it this time because these 5 bottles represent a 1/4 point spread of our top rated bottles of the year.
Yeah, we have 2 10s, and the lowest we have up here is a 975.
Yep.
So if that sounds good to you, it sounds good to me. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems, to the Savor the Burn podcast. My name is Jonathan, and to your right is Mr. W2. How do you do?
Doing pretty fantastic. I'm especially ready to get into these. I started my day off taking a visit to the dentist's office and got a small little cavity filled before it became anything problematic. So.
Yeah. If you don't take care of them when they're small, when they grow up, they get to be really problematic.
So my face has been going boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get into some bourbon.
It's time to do that. Well, actually, before we get into that, if you're listening audio only anywhere, leave us a comment, hit like in any way if you can, and let us know you're out there. And if you're on YouTube watching all of this happen, be sure to hit subscribe and click that bell notification to stay up to date on all things Savor the Burn.
Yeah.
So I think without further ado, maybe give us a quick little rundown on who we have in front of us here.
Like I said.
And then we'll hop into it.
Like I said, this represents a 1/4 point spread, and our right, your left, we're doing a countdown. So we're starting with the Weller 12. That's our 5th rated one.
Yep.
It came in at 9 3/4, 9.75. Next up, we've got the Little Book, Chapter 8, Path Not Taken.
Which was really good.
Yeah, that came in at 9.8125.
And higher proof too, wasn't it?
It was. I don't have, we'll have to look on the bottle when we get to there. Next up is the surprise release this year, the Little Book, The Infinite.
Yeah, nobody saw that coming.
And that one was a 9.9075. And then, of course, we've got our 2 10s, the Michter's 10-year rye and the Michter's 10-year bourbon. Coincidentally, we gave those both a 10.
Both a 10. And usually I reserve my 10s on bottle presentation, or my full 5 for bottle presentation if it has a box and or a bag, you know. But this one here, I mean, these guys here, they're shouldered flask. You know, I've always liked those, the shouldered flask, and wax dip, color-coded wax dip.
Very thick. Wax dipped.
Yeah, heavy bottom, just like I like my ladies. And just, we couldn't have been more happy with the presentation. So I will scoot some bottles over here so I have some room to grab my glasses.
And if you want, throw a couple over here if you want.
Yeah, there you go. All right, give me half a second. I'm going to put my water over here. We don't drink no stink of water. Actually, yes, we do. We drink our water around here. We stay hydrated.
Well, like we said, going your left to right, our right to left, we're starting with number 5. This is the Weller 12-year. And already, we came down here. I went ahead and pre-poured all these before we started. And when I walked back down here, I could smell the wheat on this one.
I'm almost picking up like peach and something like a really tart peach. Just like sweet and tart and fucking delicious, along with the usual suspects of vanilla and oak and caramel.
Oh wow! I'm just gonna go ahead and just get a little bit of nose on all of them.
Okay, this one here.
Oh,
I mean, that's toffee.
What's interesting about this is the Path Not Taken, the Little Book Chapter 8.
Yes.
What's interesting about this one is, and you've got the card right there on there, the blend on this is so incredible. It's a lot of straight Kentucky straight rye, and then it's just kind of the icing on the cake, so to speak, is, if I remember correctly, is an 18-year Kentucky straight bourbon.
Right. Everything that they have in here, which is kind of hard to read because these letters are super small. And I'm starting to get to that age where I might need a magnifying glass or something. Anyway, so yeah, 18-year Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. It says high rye. A 13-year, if I'm reading that right.
Straight rye.
Straight rye whiskey. A 7-year Kentucky straight rye malt whiskey. Oh, okay. So that's
going to be a little bit
okay.
Malted barley.
But 7-year. I mean, when these things reach 7 years, any whiskey, like that's a really nice spot to be in. At least the beginning of a nice spot to be in. Yeah, I mean, and the list goes on. There's like 4 more.
But what's incredible about this one is there's a lot of diverse rye spices that you're getting on that, but yet it has all of the sweetness of a typical bourbon. So you're getting a lot of vanilla and caramel right there on the nose. And third is the Infinite, which, the Infinite it's. I mean, what can you say that hasn't already been said? It's caramely sweet. It's not hoppy or anything, but it's like almost burnt sugar. There's so much in the oak, wonderful things. And then we have the rye of ryes. The rye of ryes. I mean, come on. How does it? If you think that you have a better rye, if you've had this rye, the Michter's 10-year rye from, was this 2023 or was this 2024? This is the 2024. Okay. If you've had the 2024 Michter's 10-year rye and you think there's a better one out there, please, because I would love to find it. And actually, I would love to find it and have my buddy Fritz try it because I have a friend who says that he doesn't like rye. I don't know if he's just trying to get whiskey out of me, but challenge accepted, mother liquor. Golly, that is amazing. And then last but not least. Oh, certainly not least. This is the other 10. And it's a 10-year bourbon. Oh, everything you love about bourbon. This has it. Which is why I went ahead and put these in the Michter's glasses. Yes. Well, oh man, which one do you want to start with? You want to start? I'm gonna start with the Weller. Let's start with the Weller then. Well, in the nice Flaviar. Yep. Cheers, sir. Cheers. And to you. It's definitely wheated. I mean that hits. The wheat just gives it such a nice, soft, creamy flavor on the palate. Really, there's no other way to put it. And it's kind of, I mean, it's very custardy. It's just, there's a little bit of a pepper type of a spice to it. Once again, I'm being hit with the wow that this thing has to offer. Yeah. And at 90 proof, I'd say it drinks like a 90 proof. But it's not offensive in any way. And it came in the box. It came in a box. It's got the classic Weller design that all the rest of them have. It is a Weller product that is a aluminum little metal screw top. Yeah. Which is interesting because the single barrel release, the Antique 107 release, the foolproof release, those are all corked. Which, make up your minds, guys. But you decide to not give the 12-year-old a nice natural cork stopper. Yeah, we like our 12-year-olds natural around here. That's a P. Diddy joke. Anyway, so move that one off to the side here a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's wheat. Stop myself. It's wheat. It's honey. It's oak. It's aged in all the right ways. If you can find that bottle, there's a creme brulee quality to it. There's so much going on there. It's absolutely amazing. If you can find it, get it. Path not taken. Path not taken. And this one, because this is a blend of so much rye, all Kentucky straight ryes, and a splash of Kentucky straight bourbon. Yeah, it's technically an American whiskey. Right. It's not a bourbon. It's not a rye. Yeah. So a blended whiskey. I mean, it
it almost has like a Angostura bitters smell to the top of it. Like it's got so much going on there.
And the depth of the rye on this one, just incredible.
It's too much. Oh, and there's some of that proof is coming through.
Yeah, what is the proof on that?
Where are we at here? 116.2, okay. If I'm reading that right. I
was going to say 115, but
yeah. And it doesn't drink like 116.2, whatever it was.
This is a rye fan's rye.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You know, and this one as well.
Yeah.
However, this one's inviting.
It's a traditional rye that has just gone above and beyond your expectations for what rye whiskey has to bring to the table.
And that 10-year statement on that one is what really kind of mellows it out and rounds off those corners.
We have the inside scoop on this 10-year rye, and come to find out, 10-year rye is kind of a lie. And why is that, W2?
So Michter's has their core offering, the bourbon, rye, sour mash, and American whiskey.
Yeah.
Beyond that, their next step is their single barrel 10-year bourbon and rye. And then they also have a 20-year and a 25-year. They don't have anything between 10 and 20-year offerings. And their master distiller is known as Dr. No because he does not let anything leave the barrel, go into a bottle until he says it is ready.
Yep.
And this is one of those that their product is a 10-year age statement.
Yeah.
They leave it in the bottle until it's ready.
In the barrel.
Sometimes it's not ready at 10 years, so it stays in a little longer.
Yeah, this one wasn't ready at 11 years.
Or 12.
Or 13.
Yeah. So
it was ready at 14 though. And it wasn't a 20 yet, and it wasn't a 15 yet. So they said, and Mr. No, Dr. No, said, it's time.
It is time.
Pull these barrels, bottle them up, and
We're doing all this talking on these Michter's, and we still have another one to get to.
We still have another. We have another one. We got the Infinite up next.
The Infinite. And this is one, so those who don't know, you may have seen them online and wanting to know what all the fuss is about. The Little Book series is Little Book, a.k.a. Booker No's grandson, Freddie. Freddie's dad is Frederick No. Freddie No, when he became of age, became master distiller. This became his own personal project. Little Book is Freddie No's personal project.
Yeah.
It is a once a year release. They release it, I believe it's in February, March timeframe is when it typically comes out. And so we're
scrambling.
We're scrolling through the socials, and all of a sudden, this new Little Book pops up, and I'm like, "What the hell?
What is this?
I already have the 2024 Little Book." And come to find out, they decided to do an offshoot of the Little Book family.
Yeah.
And
it's a family barrel.
This is edition 1.
Edition 1, yeah, first.
Called the Infinite because they started a infinity barrel.
Yeah.
That is comprised of bourbons that Freddie, whiskeys that Freddie blended, whiskeys that his father Frederick blended, and
his grandfather Booker.
And grandfather Booker, who died in February 2004. Died in late February 2004.
So that's been in there a while.
This has bourbon from a barrel that he put in the barrel right before he passed away, earlier February 2004. So this has a 20-year Kentucky straight bourbon in there, and then a whole bunch of other things that Frederick and Freddie put together. And so they've started this infinity barrel program. This is edition 1. They've pulled some of it out, blended it up. bottled it, and then every year they're going to add some new barrels to it, blend it again, let it age, and then summer next year they will release edition 2.
Edition 2.
And so when I saw that, I still only had picked up on about half of the story, and so I'm like, yeah, I have to have this.
Have to.
And then as I started not finding it or being too late on it, I started reading more and learning more about the story. I'm like, this is a once in a lifetime edition 1 bottle. We have got to find this.
Yeah.
And we found a bottle. So
and it turned out to be amazing. Is this the one that your son had to run out and buy for us?
Yes. Cheers, sir.
Thank you so much. Oh, wait.
Have we cheers this one?
Who does? We have not. In fact, we didn't do the other one
That's
before.
all right.
So
let's get this one.
To Booker, to Freddie, and to Frederick.
To the Booker family.
To the Booker family.
To the No family.
The No family.
The Beam family.
The Beam family. Because
it's a Jim Beam product.
It's a Jim Beam product.
We have 2 Jim Beam products in our
the
top 5.
Yeah, these 2 right here.
How can you be mad at that?
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. Yeah, peanut brittle for days on the nose.
Dude, that's so good. What's the proof on that one?
119.3.
119. It does not drink like 119 proof.
It definitely does not. I mean, this is just amazing. For their first bottle of this passion project, this family project, Jim Beam adjacent project, it's stunning what they've done. And of all the times that we've had different Beam related bottles on this podcast, this is the only one that I've noticed any peanut brittle that everybody says, well, if you like Jim Beam, you must like peanut brittle. I'm not the biggest fan of peanut brittle. I'm just not. But this and all other Jim Beam products, this is the only one to me that peanut brittle screams.
Yeah, and
right
this one on the nose alone, we've got perfectly balanced caramel, peanut brittle, coconut, molasses with a nice layer of dark cherry and some stone fruit.
And a hint of some kind of like spearmint or mint, like at the very tail end of it. So that brings us to the Michter's 10-year rye. We talked about it.
It's creamy. I mean, it's
incredible. Sorry. Only a Glencairn will give you that. God. It has no business being that smooth and that drinkable.
They just
92.8 proof, like
not too long ago, I believe back in November, they released that the master distiller and master of maturation got together and approved the release of their 20-year bourbon.
Right, yeah, you sent me that email. I remember reading that email.
MSRP $1,200.
Oh, is that what it was? I didn't even see the price on the website.
No.
I was like,
MSRP is $1,200, which means that
we need to get a ski mask and go visit.
Secondary market on that is going to be $8,000 a bottle. Easily.
If I could have 2 bottles of that, I would.
I just want one from the Fort Nelson distillery.
That would be nice.
In
that would be incredible.
Nondescript, solid black little box that I can just kind of walk right on through the unexpected patrons.
The Michter's pearly gates.
All right. I'm going to pause because the 10-year bourbon, I feel, is actually a hair darker than some of these other ones. Yeah.
But for
your Path Not Taken and the bourbon, I think, are the darkest of the 5.
I started looking at them from above, and I thought, this one looks really yellow. This one here looks kind of copper gold. This one here looks kind of greenish somehow. This one over here, and then I was like, oh, there's the tape
barrel
on the bottom.
Oh, there you go.
Son of a bitch. And this one, of course, that's going to be darker because it's got the dark. Anyway.
Cheers, sir.
Yes, cheers. Michter's 10-year bourbon. Amazing. when I was growing up, kid, Sugar Creek, I had no idea what whiskey was. And then when I moved to Blue Springs, I would dip into my mom's little stash of those tiny little, airplane bottles, whatever. And I tried different things, whatever, until they were empty. And try to hide it, put water in them. I don't know. It's been so long ago. I never once thought that whiskey of any kind could be so easy to drink, but it is. When it comes to these two offerings from Michter's, they're just hands down the best. And so this one here, the Infinite, it's no small wonder. It's no wonder to me how this one came in so highly rated between the two of us at number 3.
Yeah.
Well,
and we're talking about 9.9075 versus 10. That is less than a 10th point difference.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So.
And then, by comparison, this the little book, what was it, chapter 8?
Path Not Taken.
Path Not Taken. Look how much of that bottle's gone.
That bottle, some of it traveled to Sturgis with me this year.
Yeah, and Mitchie. Mitchie had some, and his woman Stephanie had some. And
it's a little too spicy, I think, for them.
Oh, it's so hot.
Come on.
And yet, they both nipped off of it all night long. So they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's so hot!"
There's even a touch of licorice here on the. Is this our notes or?
So I'm gonna go back now to our Weller 12.
Weller 12. Nose is different than anything else on here, and drinks a lot lighter.
It does. I might bump this one in this context.
Yeah.
I might bump that one to a number 4 slot.
The Weller 12?
Over Path Not Taken.
Path Not Taken. Well, I'm not really too surprised because when we started this, I think you had told me when we started this, you weren't really the biggest rye fan, but you had warmed up to plenty of ryes before we started the podcast.
Yeah.
So I think
that's my new. I think that's my new one.
So you swapped 4 for 5?
4 for 5, and I think the top 3 hold.
Top 3, no question, untouchable. Between the two of these, though,
and the Michter's 10-year bourbon and rye, they both got a perfect 10, an average perfect 10 from both of us because we both gave both of them a 10.
Yeah.
Because I favor bourbon, I still put I put that one number 1. But technically, it and the rye are the same.
Okay, I see what you're doing here. So these are both 10s, right? The Michter's, and since you favor bourbon over rye, that's where yours would be.
Yeah.
But for me, I favor rye over bourbon. So that's where I'm at with it. And when it comes down to these two, you flipped your 4 and your 5. So this is how yours would look. But for me, I think they're rated correctly. I think you're just
putting the rye ahead of the bourbon.
Right. And that's only because it's personal preference. Right. Just like with you.
Yeah.
And every palate is different.
Every palate's different.
Your palate is going to be different than ours. Especially if you can tell right away that neither one of us can agree on which one of these goes first.
You know what's great about
just personal preference.
What's great about this top 5?
Yeah.
Is all 5 of them are very distinctly different.
They really are.
We don't have any that you go, oh, that tastes a lot like this other one too.
They do not. These two.
There's really no splitting hairs.
The Michter's 10 years drink similarly.
They drink very similarly.
Very much alike.
But they're very different tastes because one's a bourbon and one's a rye.
Absolutely.
And then both of the Little books are vastly different,
night and day
just
different.
because of how they're blended.
There's so much rye going on here in the Path Not Taken. In the Infinite, come on. I mean, it's so much peanut brittle right off the top. It's way different.
Yep.
And you're working with 20-year bourbons inside that batch, inside that barrel. It's an infinity barrel, not an infinity bottle.
Well, and not to mention, you have a 20-year Kentucky straight bourbon that was crafted and barreled by
the
Booker
man
No
himself.
I was hoping this actually had the blend card in there, but it does not.
Nah, that's all right.
It's got a little story of sorts, but
I mean, Booker, when he created his Infinity Barrel, is probably like a legacy program before legacy program was a term. I'm sure he had a bit of a blend thing going on in there. It wasn't just one spirit. It could have been. It very well may have been. I don't know. I mean, who knows what kind of char level he had inside this giant barrel.
So yeah, the Infinite, I just pulled open the notes on there. The Little Book Edition 1, the Infinite, it is blended of a 20-year-old bourbon made by Booker No himself before he died in 2004, a 14-year-old whiskey laid down by Frederick No. Freddie No's own 7-year-old bourbon, and then an 8-year expression inspired by the work of all three men. So, and they don't give any other additional information on there, but that's gonna be a blend of all three of them, probably done before he passed.
A blend inspired by all three of them. So does that mean maybe the next master distiller was inspired by the three of them, and he came up with something?
No, that means an 8-year-old expression inspired by the work of all three men.
Oh, okay.
Of Booker, Frederick, and Freddie.
Okay.
But you've got a 20-year bourbon, you've got a 7-year bourbon.
I see a difference between the terms inspired by and created by. Like, you can be inspired by Van Gogh's painting.
Fair enough.
And kind of stylize your paintings the way he did his thing.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
That's how I see it. I'm inspired by Chimera, Pantera, Devil Driver.
At any rate, you've got a 20-year bourbon, you've got a 7-year bourbon, you've got a 14-year whiskey, so that's a blend of rye and bourbon, and then you've got this 8-year mystery expression that they're not disclosing what it is.
Other than the only way I could describe this, the Little Book Infinite, is just plain and simply, it's incredible. It's the best thing that ever, to me anyway, that ever came out of what Jim Beam has to offer. And that goes for all of the Jim Beam name brand stuff. The Baker's, we had a great time with that Baker's 8 years, 6 month bottle, the Baker 7.
The Baker 7, that was actually 8 years, 6 months.
Yes, and so always check your neck labels on when it comes to Baker 7.
I cannot wait to get into the limited release they did not that long ago of the Baker's High Rye.
Oh,
it's a Baker. It's a Baker 7 High Rye bourbon.
This Weller though, I mean, even now, just like trying to go back. You're right. Mine is almost completely empty compared to some of my others here. But I'm the kind of guy that eats his vegetables first so he can savor the potatoes and the rest of it, the steak or whatever.
All of the talk of the sweet bourbons that we've had, and my preference being bourbons, there is so much interesting and intriguing things going on with this Little Book Path Not Taken.
Yeah.
The depth of rice and variety of rice spices that are in this make this such an intriguing and interesting pour.
Yeah.
And come on.
Freddie's note here on the front of the bottle says, I selected Little Book as an honor to my grandfather, Booker, and our shared love for creating unique blends to share with the world. It's family tradition.
It comes in this beautiful bottle that has the medallion on there. It's wax dipped with the ribbon on the neck.
You've got a black topper with natural cork. I think it's natural cork.
I don't think it is, actually.
No.
It's composite.
It's got a black topper with with composite, and it's Jim Beam.
And it comes in this amazing box that resembles the traditional Booker's boxes, but it's black.
It is black.
And then the door on there, what I love about this over the actual Booker's releases is it actually puts the chapter number and the title and the year on the door. The Bookers do not.
No, they have the Bookers are just a standard label.
It is. They have a little story card that comes in there, and then it has the extra label on the bottle that says what release it is. But the box and the door is just standard across all of them. This, because it's a single annual release, they actually customize that, so you know without even getting into the bottle. This is the 2024 release of that.
And you can see on the side of it, on the side of the box, it's embossed a little book over here. Same thing with the other side. There's more embossment happening over there.
And then you get into the Infinite. It's black wood like the regular little book. The difference is it's not completely enclosed.
Right.
They went ahead and opened the back, and the front is
open. The back's open too, isn't it?
Yeah. And because of that, this actually is a pull-off little piece to get the bottle in and out of there. What's great is that has such a dark color. Look at that color.
Yeah.
Because there is no back and there's no front to that, you can see the color of that. And just the black on black. I'm such a fan of what they did with this one. And then this one side says little book, and the other side's got the Roman numeral 1 on there.
Roman numeral 1. And I don't know if it's because of the black label, with that being on there or not. But to me, it looks like this is the darkest of all the bourbons we have up here. Or of all the whiskeys, I'm sorry. I misspoke there. Of all the whiskeys that we have up here.
So I'm a fan, and I was very adamant. I wanted the first edition of this one so that we could get in and taste what the original one tastes like. You better believe I'm going to be fighting tooth or nail to get the box that's got the Roman numeral number 2 on the side. And what an incredible story of family bonding and traditions.
Real family legacy, family heritage. It's family tradition. Quite unlike like the Hank Williams family tradition. Family tradition, like getting drunk and causing trouble. This is incredible.
Things did not pan out for us to make the pilgrimage this year.
It didn't happen.
But we are going to do that.
Yeah.
And I'd like to do it soon.
Yes.
Even winter's here, but
winter is here. Hopefully that means there'd be less tourism.
Less tourism, and the farther east you go, it's not going to be as bad. So
really?
I
Huh. I don't know.
Faith and Tim in Knoxville, their winters are mild compared to ours.
Okay.
So, anyway.
They are in like growing zone 7B, I think it is. Or not growing zone, but hardiness zone. It's a gardening thing. Whatever. Plus they have a Chuy's Tex-Mex restaurant down there in Knoxville.
Dude, when we were in Austin, down in Texas, earlier this fall, we passed 3 or 4 Chuy's.
Yep. They're everywhere down south, but up here in KC, we don't have one anymore. It's all gone. All gone.
And I'm gonna say it again. I love me some Michter's.
Yeah, Michter's.
And
our story with Michter's is special to me.
Michter's is the first brand that I latched onto.
Yeah.
When I think back to when I first started really enjoying bourbon whiskey, because the bourbon, the sour mash, and the American whiskey were kind of my three that I kind of latched onto. It was Michter's, and so I have
so this
loved,
was pre-podcast.
This is
way before the podcast.
decade plus.
Okay. I hadn't heard of them until we started this thing.
So I have been a Michter's fan for a long time, and then podcast. Fast forward a little bit. We got word that Red X down in Riverside was doing a tasting, and we were like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And they're giving they're doing a raffle for purchase for some of their allocated bottles, and so we went down there.
And they had bomb burgers.
Well, they had way more than what they actually publicized. So we're like, what are we going to get?
Because Red X had been squirreling bottles away too, so they wanted to be a part of the whole thing.
But they pulled my number, and I came home with that.
Yep.
And we made a friend in the one of the sales reps.
Yeah, Raven Fuller. And how cool is she? I mean, she turned out to be super cool. Yep. I approached her very, timidly because I don't know her. She doesn't know me. I intimidate people. I look like a fucking dirtbag. And so, don't start.
Fucking long hair.
No, okay. I thought you were going to teenage dirtbag. But I'm glad that didn't happen.
I wouldn't need. I didn't need to.
It wasn't on his radar, but it's in the back of my mind. It's in the back of my mind now.
You heard it, folks.
Whiskey. Anyway, so I went up. I'm like, hey, we have a few questions. We're in a podcast. Would you be willing to hang out and do some Q&A?
Yeah. Answer some questions.
2, have you ever had Kansas City whiskey? And 3,
if not,
would you go with us to Rieger's? And we'll introduce you to some Kansas City whiskey. Maybe do a couple cocktails. Do our Q&A there. Mm-hmm. And against all better judgment on her part, she said yes. And we ended up having a great night. We ended up getting a little bit of food. Mm-hmm. We poked some cocktails down her throat. There was the horse feather and the old fashioned.
Yeah.
I think she liked both.
And I already had a family vacation planned to meet my sister in Louisville, which is where Michter's is located.
Yeah. You guys bonded on Egyptian art, with your tattoos and stuff, and she has all kinds of tattoos. Mm-hmm. We all bonded on metal because she went to I think it's called Sick New World out there in Vegas.
Yeah.
So, her and her husband went out there and checked that out. Mm-hmm. And so it was just kind of like 3 chuckleheads, whiskey enthusiast, tattoos, metal, everybody was happy. And so she hooked you guys up.
Yeah.
Because you were already headed out there.
She's
like, let me know when you're in town.
The week after that, we started messaging back and forth. And before I knew it, she's like, okay, I've got you set up for a tour.
Right.
What day works best for you? And so I gave her some time. She's like, all right, I got a date for this. And at first she didn't tell me a whole lot. She's like, I think you're going to have a good time. And then as we got a little bit closer to it, she started to kind of unravel some of the things. And she's like, just show up. You'll have a good time. And we showed up and we got treated well. So...
0 complaints from anything Michter's has to offer. And I've gone through...
And it didn't make our top 5 list, but I got to bottle this one myself.
That was a fun experience.
Yeah.
You guys got to fill out the information on the box and the bottle too, or no?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah? Okay.
And it comes in at 110.2 proof.
Yep, straight from the barrel.
Directly across the street from the Slugger Museum.
The Kansas City mascot?
No.
Royals mascot?
The Louisville Slugger baseball bats.
So, yeah.
Our first year that we went...
Go check them out.
Our first year that we went through Louisville, I booked, and this is a year prior to the podcast, I booked a tour at Michter's. I did their standard tour.
Yeah.
And while I was there, Katie and Henry were across the street at the Louisville Slugger Museum.
Okay.
Katie got to actually hold and swing a Babe Ruth bat.
What?
Yep.
Get out of here. That is so cool. That is so cool.
I thought it was a cool story.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. I don't know. Do they let people in when they're wearing ski masks? Go through the whole experience until they get their hands on that bat?
Woo.
Goodness. All right, so if you're in Louisville, go check out Michter's. Let us know what you think. Send us an email, info@savortheburn.com. Tell me to calm my happy ass down when
and
it comes
tell
to
Michter's
Jim
we
Beam.
sent you.
Absolutely, yeah. Say Savor the Burn sent you. You know, Lord knows, Jennifer knows, I've been through a few bottles of Michter's at home. I've been through 2 bottles of the rye and 1 of the bourbon. You can't go wrong with Michter's. And so, you know, if you want to tell me to simmer the hell down when it comes to Jim Beam, send me an email. Jonathan at jimbeam.com. No, Jonathan at savortheburn.com. Goodness. And if you have any suggestions of any ryes that are better than this one, send W2 an email, w2@savortheburn.com.
Or if you got a bourbon that you think is better, than the Michter's 10-year.
Yep.
First off, we might have to go in the parking lot and have a fist fight. But
you all have a fist fight. I'm just gonna have another pour.
you're just gonna sample the goods and make a determination.
Like, I don't know, man. This is I don't know.
I'm gonna need one more.
I need one more to think about it. I need to think a little more so I can drink about which one I like most.
I had a second pour of the Michter's.
Yeah, I saw you pouring something. Which one? The bourbon?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Very cool. You know what? I have zero complaints about any of these. These, like we said in the beginning, this is our top 5.
I hope not.
This is
this is the cream of the crop. Ooh. Buzz already.
Oh, rest in peace, sir. Man, nobody did it like Randy Macho Man Savage.
I can't contribute much to wrestling talk, but
that's all right. We don't really talk about wrestling a whole lot.
But I can get into a Randy Man Savage. Voice.
Yeah, we try to avoid 3 topics. You know, politics, religion, and professional wrestling. It doesn't always work.
And when the KC Kid
comes to town,
Mr. Johnson is here.
It's just me and him riffing on what the Bloodline's doing.
Pro wrestling comes to town.
And yeah. Those are really fun episodes.
Chandler, I know you're watching, buddy. Comment down below.
Yep. Let us know you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that is hands down the best ride I've ever had in my life. This Path Not Taken little book is a master class on rye blends.
Right.
It's beyond compare. This one here, the Infinity Barrel release of a little book, Infinite, The Infinite. In fucking credible. Like, in when you learn, if you're already a Jim Beam fan, and if you're a fan of families doing it right, and if you're a fan of great storytelling, this bottle is for you.
You know, speaking of families, what is cool is, and we have not gotten our hands on a bottle yet. We will.
Yet.
Dear listener. The 2024 Batch 4 Booker's is titled, I'm blanking on the title now. It's Jimmy's Batch, I think is the title of it.
Jimmy Russell.
Total homage to Jimmy Russell of Wild Turkey.
Of Wild Turkey, yeah.
So,
how cool is that?
Right. This is not a Hatfields and McCoy's
thing. No, it's not.
This is a family, community, relationship.
Yeah.
Jim Beam paid their respects to Wild Turkey. Yeah. Because Jimmy Russell, dude.
Jimmy Russell, yeah, hands down. I mean, he's every bit as iconic as any one of the Bookers. And I didn't know that when we started this podcast. All I knew was Wild Turkey was some rot gut trash that, you know, if you were looking to get drunk and that was it, that's what you drank. You know, but nowadays, if you're looking to get drunk, what you drink is some kind of flavored thing. You know, there's so many different flavored stuff out there.
I mean,
look at Old Smoky Moonshine or Tennessee Shine Company, or, you know, any of them, honestly. So many of, like Junction 35, we talked about them. They have so many different flavors out there. It's just like, Just give me something real, would you please?
Wow.
Yeah, but you talk about Jimmy Russell and the No family coming together and paying some homage to Jimmy Russell. It goes to show you, it reiterates what Bruzel, if you're a fan of Bruzel, in his podcast, what he does on YouTube, what he said, the whiskey business is a relationship business, and it just is. It honestly, truly is.
And to put it in perspective, the James Beam Distilling Company distillery and Wild Turkey are like a mile and a half from each other.
Huh. They're close, but they're not too close. They're sharing the same air.
You get off the highway on, I forget what the exit is, but as you get off the highway, probably 3/4 of a mile off the highway is the turn to Jim Beam.
The Holy Land.
And that iconic white barn is literally right there out towards the edge of the road.
With the statue.
But if you keep driving about a mile and a half down the road is Wild Turkey. Four Roses is also...
Four Roses is right there in that same area.
It's I'd say within a 2 mile span, you've got Jim Beam, Four Roses, and Wild Turkey. They're all right there.
And Four Roses, Four Roses didn't make our top 5, and I don't think it ever will. Nothing against Four Roses, honestly, but what I learned about Four Roses is their base level offering, much like Wild Turkey, much like Jim Beam, much like Jack Daniels, their initial base level offering is just not that great.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand that about Jim Beam, because I loved it. It had everything that I like about whiskey. It had the caramel. It had a little bit of apple. There was the oakiness.
Yeah.
And a little bit of vanilla. It tasted like whiskey. I'm happy with it. It tasted like bourbon. I liked it.
Yep. Tastes like bourbon.
To take W2's words, I like it. I did. I liked it. I just figured that was my my old hat, my go-to whiskey. If I'm end of the day, it just felt like a pour. I'll have a pour of some Jim Beam White Label. And then when Carlo gave us that family size bottle of the black, I was like,
which is now number 7.
Now it's number 7. It's weird how that
Jim Beam 7.
They've changed the name on that several times. It was just Jim Beam Extra Aged, and then it was Jim Beam Black, and now it's Jim Beam 7.
Yeah.
Make up your mind, guys.
I think it's a marketing department pet project. How can we squeeze a little bit more?
Yeah, just go Jim Beam 3X, because for us, the second we I can't say pop the top because it's screw off lid. When we cracked that lid and smelled it, it was immediately evident that what we were getting was at least 3 times anything that White Label had to offer.
Yep.
And so from that point, my world opened up quite a bit more. It bloomed a little bit.
Yep.
And to show me that just because I think I like something doesn't mean that there's not something the next level up.
Yep.
Just the next level could be so much more amazing. So
agreed.
So when it comes to Four Roses, that's exactly my experience with it. The Four Roses bourbon was not palatable to me. I really didn't like it. Then we tried the Four Roses small batch, and I was like, this is not bad at all. No. And it had a cool bottle.
And then we did the small batch select.
The small batch select was like, I was like, now holy hot damn! Like
we have not had it.
Now I'm starting to understand what Four Roses.
We have not had it on the podcast yet, but I have had their single barrel.
Yeah,
it's a notch up too.
It's another notch up. So I would encourage you, if you like,
and then a store pick. If you can find a store pick,
a store pick is going to be a single barrel.
It's going to be the single barrel offering as a store pick.
Yeah.
It's yet
and depending on how the store wants to do it, it may or may not be barrel proof. It could be proofed down a little bit so they get more bottles. It's a whole thing, but
usually, I've always seen it a much higher proof than what the typical offering is.
Because that's where they're tasting it.
Yep.
They get all these different barrel sample bottles or whatever, and they taste it at that proof. They don't proof it down and then taste it. So it just makes sense to keep it at that proof. Otherwise, if they proof it down and then bottle it, they're getting a completely different whiskey. So if you have the chance to find any, probably not these bottles, but if you have any chance of finding a store pick or a barrel pick at your favorite, liquor stores or grocery stores, Hy-Vee here,
especially
in the
if it's your
Casey
favorite
Metro area
brand.
has them. Favorite brand,
yeah.
Angel's Envy has been really good.
Dude.
Just their base offering is miles and above. Flavor-wise, a lot of things out there on the market.
They are also in Louisville.
It's amazing, and so if you find a store pick, a barrel pick of Angel's Envy, it's going to be Angel's Envy, no doubt about it, no question. But it's going to have a little bit of a different expression, a little bit of a different flavor, and a much different punch when it gets to you.
Yes,
in our experience, anyway.
On another note, Happy New Year's Eve. Comment down below. Let us know what you're drinking for New Year's.
Yeah, do you have any New Year's resolutions? I don't yet. Actually, I didn't have any.
Drink more whiskey?
At the beginning of this year, I didn't have any New Year's.
Even if it's Jim Beam?
Even if... Blasphemy. Blasphemy.
Do you see the bottles we have sitting in front of us?
Yeah, dude.
That's all I'm saying.
2 of the 5 are Jim Beam products. We have 1 Weller, 2 Jim Beam, and 2 Michter's. Like, I'm proud of you guys at Jim Beam.
You know what?
And I love you guys at Michter's. And Weller...
Buffalo Trace showed up.
Buffalo Trace did show up in one of their offers.
Jim Beam shows up. And then we've got Michter's.
Is there...
2025 is going to be interesting because this sets...
We have some things on the schedule that might give a few of these a run for the money.
This sets the bar.
We're going to see.
Yep.
Right now, this is a really high bar, guys. I mean, we're talking 9 3/4 and above. Like,
and again,
come at us, bro.
Comment below. What's going to raise this bar? We want to try to get it.
Do you have one that you think is an 11? I'm willing to try it. I think this is probably a good time to wrap.
Let's do it.
Right in front of you, we have tried Savor the Burn's top 5 whiskeys of 2024. We had, starting off at number 5, Weller, 12 year. The little book, chapter 8, Path Not Taken. Little book, The Infinite. Absolutely amazing. Edition 1. The first one, yeah, because there will be edition 2.
Let's see if edition 2 makes next year's top 5.
I have my doubts because this is going to be super tough.
Well, but next year when we do this, it'll be the 2025 top 5. Yep. Let's see if edition 2 makes that list. That's what I'm saying. And if I have any left by then, maybe we can compare the 2.
Maybe do a side by side.
No promises.
It'll be different because it's an open bottle. Like, this has had a little bit of time to breathe in the bottle.
Yep.
I mean, fresh crack on a bottle does taste different than, and I found that out with the Michter's bourbon.
I pre-poured these so that they would have time to air.
They had time to breathe in the glass. In these Glencairn glasses, which you can find at savortheburn.com/shop. And you can even find our affiliate Flavier link in savortheburn.com/shop. We're not wearing our Savor the Burn t-shirts right now, but you've seen them. Those are also on savortheburn.com/shop. So definitely check that out. And we also have a Patreon if you like what we're doing. But without further ado, our number 4 on the list, our number 4 and number 5 was the Michter's 10-year rye, Michter's 10-year bourbon.
Yep.
For me, this is number 1. For W2, this is number 1.
Yeah. And
that's okay. And then me, wait, did you switch these 2 at the end?
I did.
Okay, so
I totally did.
For 4 and 5, this is how it looks for W2 across the panel. And for my top 5,
musical chairs.
That's how it looks for me on my top 5. So we're looking at 2 different palettes here, and you have a different palette than we have, and that's totally cool. That's how, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord splits you. What does that mean? I don't know. Anyway, so thank you, dear listener and dear viewer of the Savor the Burn podcast. Thank you for tuning in, as always. And no matter what you're drinking and who you're drinking it with and where you're drinking it, never forget, keep on burning.
Yeah!